Digital Clarity, Episode 1, Part 1. Your jewelry store's website, the foundation of your online presence. Welcome to Digital Clarity, the podcast for giving you, independent jewelers, the tools to make informed marketing decisions. Thanks for joining me today. This is our first episode, and I want to give a big shout out to Trace Shelton and David Squires and the rest of the team from INSTORE magazine for making this possible. When I first pitched them, it was to do a single episode about the various techniques you can use to better market your store. But because online marketing is such a broad and deep topic, and because so many of you are either doing your own marketing or have hired out a marketing company, we decided to turn this podcast into more of an ongoing educational endeavor. So yes, we will tell you tactics you can use to increase revenue, but a big part of this is more about educating you, the owners, about how you're spending your marketing dollars. So again, my name is Josh Polsky. I've been in marketing for the last 25 years. I've done local marketing for about 15 of those years. And I also have had multiple jewelry clients. You know, a lot of people that I've spoken to, clients, or just other people in the industry, they've been burned. Whether they've been burned on purpose by other agencies that come in, they sell them and then they forget about them, or they've been burned because they just listen to the recommendation from somebody about a particular tactic to use that maybe wasn't right for them, and then they burn some of their marketing budget. I guess you've got a lot of different people at any given time telling you what sort of marketing activities you should be doing. Maybe it's your in-house social media marketer. Maybe it's your outsourced SEO agency, your web designer. Whatever the case, anyone can tell you why a certain strategy or tactic is beneficial, because they all are. They all serve a purpose when implemented properly. But the first question you should be asking yourself when considering online marketing is, well, what are my business goals? And how does this particular tactic or activity fit into or help me accomplish those goals? The next question is, are the other parts of my online presence in the place they need to be in order for this particular activity that I'm considering? Is it going to give me the best possible return? So first things first, what are your needs? Once you understand them, you'll be able to properly delegate to your in-house team. Or, like I said, you have an outsourced team, or maybe you're being pitched by an agency right now or will be soon, because let's face it, I'm sure you are bombarded by emails, social messages with people trying to sell you marketing all the time. People try to sell me marketing all the time, right? So you need to be able to discern from the people that know what they're doing and also want to help you from those that just see a checkbook with arms and legs, or the people that learn marketing by watching YouTube courses, right? Test their knowledge. See why they think you need SEO or Facebook and Instagram ads. As an example, I had a client that wanted SEO. And I said, well, your website needs some help, because if we only do SEO, you won't reap the benefits of the increased traffic. And he told me, just bring traffic. We'll worry about conversions later, right? Conversions are when someone goes from being a site visitor to a lead, or they've contacted you, or they've booked an in-store appointment. About 10 months went by, and I increased his traffic by 5 times. We went from around 300 something to over 1,500 people coming to the website per month, but we didn't really see that much of an increase in the custom design appointments being booked, which is their bread and butter. You know, I did what I could as far as optimizing the areas of the website without doing a redesign. They didn't want to do a redesign. They weren't ready for a redesign. But at the end of the day, the site wasn't ready, and so our activities weren't maximized, and we stopped. And they realized they need to redo the site before paying anything else to drive traffic, whether it's doing SEO or whether it's doing ads. The moral of the story is digital marketing requires a holistic approach. And if you're going to spend money on traffic, you have to make sure the place that they land is ready for them, whether you're going to send them to an individual landing page or a product page or your home page, book an appointment page, whatever it is, it needs to be ready. And that's what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about getting your landing page, right? And I'm talking about mostly your website, where people are going to land, not necessarily from also from ad campaigns, but just someone finds you, they land on your website, right? So what's on the docket today? We're going to talk about page load speed, right? Simple. How fast does your website load when someone navigates to it, or on the inner pages, not the home pages, but all the other pages, whether it's a product page or your appointment page or your about us page or whatever it is, category pages, doesn't matter. Blog pages, even blog posts. How fast is your website going to load? Because if it's slow, people are going to leave, and that's bad for you for many reasons, which I'll get into. Also, your on-page website optimization, right? This is an umbrella term we're going to use to define any part of your site that, whether it's customer journey, right? Which means like when they come to the top section of your website, do they know where they are, right? If it's not optimized, maybe you don't really give them the information that they need to understand what kind of store you are. Or maybe you're just an e-commerce, or maybe you're just a brick and mortar that does custom engagement rings. Does your website portray that immediately? Or let's say your menu. Is your menu easy to use? When people go into your menu, can they find exactly all the stuff that you want them to find? Because if they can't, that's an issue. It's going to be hard for them to get there. The path from going from one page to the next page to booking an appointment, or to buying a custom piece, or to buying from a particular collection that you want them to buy from, is the journey. Think about a person following a path. Is that path logical? Does it guide them? Does the content on those pages guide them to go from here to there to converting into whatever it is that you want them to convert into? We're going to talk about that too. I'll tell you the format right now. I'm going to describe in depth these different elements that I just referred to. And then after that, we're going to check out some websites. We got permission from a few of the jewelers in our community that are going to allow us to go through their website and show what needs improvement as well as what's good, right? Because it's not all bad. No one's is all bad, mostly, right? Obviously, there's some websites out there that look like a flea market, but the shops that are going to allow us to use their sites today have both room for improvement, but also places where they excel. So we will get to that. Are you not getting the custom design appointments and high-end customers you deserve? Your website could very well be holding you back, but I want to help you. Get a free website audit by yours truly, and I will tell you exactly where your site needs improvement so it ranks higher, gets more visitors, and converts those visitors into custom appointments and paying customers. Register for the audit at jewelrywebsite123.com. Now, I only have time for 5 a month, so if you're into it, do it now. Register at jewelrywebsite123.com. I look forward to helping you. So, page load speed. It almost sounds kind of trivial, doesn't it? Just kind of, how fast does your website load? Is it really that big of a deal? You think that video that you have in your top section is cool? It could actually be costing you thousands of dollars per month, depending on how much volume you do, how much traffic you get. The slower your site loads, the more people get impatient and leave. Now, I know this is going to sound kind of absurd, but according to a study done by Microsoft in 2015, people have an 8-second attention span. Now, that was 2015. So who knows if it's gone down further or stayed the same. That's pretty short. It's actually shorter than a goldfish, really. And when it comes to websites, you have even less time. Here is a statistic for you. It's called bounce rate. Bounce rate is people leaving before engaging with your site, meaning the session didn't last longer than 10 seconds or trigger a conversion event, which means they clicked to download something or to book an appointment, or includes a second page view or screen view, meaning they didn't click through to somewhere else, right? That means that the more people that don't do that, your bounce rate goes up. Now, some research studies show that the average bounce rate is 9% for pages that load in 2 seconds. That means almost 10% of people leave because they don't have the patience to wait for 2 seconds. When the page load speed time hits 5 seconds, 38% of people leave. Google revealed that 53% of mobile users would leave a website that takes more than 3 seconds to load. 3. right? Think about the generations that are coming right now that are tethered to their smartphones. More people and more people and more people are using their phone to search for stuff. According to an organization called Statista, mobile devices account for 63% of organic searches. And by the way, that study is from 2021, so it's likely higher now. Your demographic is getting younger thanks to things like death, right? So that number is not going down anytime soon. The people that used to buy from you are starting to fade out. All those boomers, no offense to you boomers that are watching, but all those boomers are getting older. They're not going to be buying stuff for too much longer. And the younger kids that are getting older, they're going to be the ones that are buying your stuff, and they're looking more and more at their smartphone. According to Unbounce, which is a landing page creation company that focuses on testing pages for conversion, right? They create their templates where you can create an individual landing page for a campaign, and then you test it. Almost 70% of consumers have said that page speed impacts their willingness to buy from an online retailer. According to Google, 79% of shoppers who have trouble with site performance say they won't return to that website to buy again. That means not only will they not buy from you in that moment, you just lost a customer forever. They won't come back. And not only that, but they also won't recommend you to somebody else. Finally, Amazon calculated that a tiny 100 millisecond increase in page load speed time led to a 1% decrease in revenue. Now, for Amazon, that's $3.8 billion. Hopefully, one day you'll get to that. But that can mean, at least for right now, tens to hundreds of $1,000s off your bottom line per year, depending on the volume that you do. Each millisecond, each second, let's say even, or half a second, that your website is slow, maybe because of video, or you didn't compress your images properly, or maybe your design is just too complicated. Whatever it is, this is money off your bottom line. And these are things that you don't even have to pay for. We're not talking about driving traffic with holiday campaigns, with Google pay-per-click campaigns, whatever it is. We're just talking about the people that are coming to your site right now. For whatever reason, they're coming to your site. If it's not loading fast enough, they're leaving. Once your page is loaded quickly enough to keep the visitor from bouncing, now you have to keep them engaged so they keep scrolling and clicking through to other stuff and eventually converting into a lead or an appointment or a contact form, which I don't recommend, but we'll get to that later. So user journey is what the user experiences on your site and how you guide them to execute a conversion. Like I said, whether it's clicking through to another page, maybe downloading a guide to the 4 C's, or making an in-store appointment. Then there's something called CRO, conversion rate optimization. This is the process of refining this journey, seeing the journey, making improvements to the parts of the site or the journey that aren't bringing conversions, and leaning into the things that are working. I'll explain. Is it blatantly obvious to your visitor where they are and what you do? When someone comes to your website, are you Milwaukee Mike's earrings? Right? It's obvious. We're at a jewelry store called Milwaukee Mike's, and he makes earrings. Or is your message passive? Does it say things like the best experience you can possibly have? Talk to us now. Maybe not mentioning anything about jewelry. Think about it, right? Is your site appealing, and does it tell them what's in it for them to keep reading? Or do you just talk about yourself and what you sell? Is your site easy to navigate in the menu? Is your content logically structured from one topic to the next, according to the way people think, not what you think they should be reading? Is it an easy path to get the customer to convert into a lead or a customer? Is the call to action clear and obvious? Call to action is what you want them to do on your site. They need to know where they are and what they are getting in the first 2 to 3 seconds, or they'll leave. For example, if your store is just a family name and you don't explicitly say who you are and what you do, your visitor might get confused. And while it won't happen 100% of the time, most people will leave and go to your competitor. Nobody wants that, right? After the top section header, What sort of text do you have before you start trying to sell? Do you talk about the problems people face when picking out a piece or when getting one made? Or are you talking about how skilled you are and how long you've been in the business and the your name here difference, right? The Josh Polsky difference. Guess what? Nobody cares. Imagine going on a first date and the person keeps talking about themselves the whole time. Think you're going to go out with them again? Swipe left. You've got to tell the visitor what they'll get from doing business with you while keeping it focused on them. Minimize the I's and the we's and focus on the you's. Do you have any text, anything talking about them, the customer, after your top section of the website, or you just go straight into selling stuff? The question is, are you the type of store that is doing more like small collections and custom design? Because if you are, they need to trust you first before they start buying. Unless it's just someone that's coming to buy a tennis bracelet that is, nice or whatever, but they're just looking for somewhere to buy something. Maybe you don't need to have text that talks so much about what a person is experiencing when going through the process of buying something special. If it's just someone buying a gift, and if you're more, into e-commerce or just selling stuff, whatever it is, then maybe you don't need that text there. But if you need to gain trust to get your customer, you need to have something there and you need to talk about them. Once you do start selling, how methodical and organized is it? Do your categories make sense? Or do you just have a whole bunch of categories on your page and leave it up to the visitor to figure out what page to go to, right? So for example, if you have a page full of category types like bridal, anniversary, and men's, and then followed by new arrivals, followed by product type categories, and maybe different designers and collections, it might start to get overwhelming. And when the human hindbrain gets overwhelmed, it bounces. Let's say everything is organized and looks great, and now you want them to make an appointment. What does that process look like? I've seen some websites with literally just a paragraph with an email address and a phone number in there saying, reach out with any questions you have. Literally the worst thing you can do. A call to action so passive, it's almost not a call to action at all. Almost as bad as a form in the bottom of your page with a headline that says, get in touch. A form that says, contact us, with fields that say first name, last name, email, phone, and message, and then a button that says submit. If you're doing any of that, you're losing money without question. Your call to action needs to be contextual to the page that it's on. So instead of a generic form on your custom earrings page, the text should be specific to designing earrings. And the button should complete the sentence, I want to. In this case, a good example of a button text would be, design my earrings, or create the best earrings ever, something. However, I am not an advocate of the form. I have two preferred methods. First, the booking calendar. Let your visitors book the best date and time for them. And then you put them in an email sequence, email reminder sequence that reminds them to, hey, on Thursday, you're going to Milwaukee Mike's Earrings Creators at 12 p.m. Don't forget. Here's a map. Here's a phone number if you have any questions. Here's a button if you need to reschedule. Second is the chatbot that has a conversation with the user, and you personally set the date and time. Ideally, this would be integrated with your booking calendar and the email reminder. So when they do book with the chatbot, it automatically goes into the calendar, and then you're blending the two tactics of the chatbot and the booking calendar. These are going to be the best ways to get people to book appointments with you. Don't put it in their hands. No offense to people, but people are kind of stupid. They're sheep. If you put the decision in their hands, or at least not the decision, but what you want them to do, they're probably not going to do it. Don't make them think. Tell them exactly what you want to do. Book your appointment, and we'll see you on Thursday. I mentioned before about content. Our demographic is one with disposable income that likes nice things and the way those nice things make them feel, whether it's for themselves or the feeling they get from giving it as a gift. They need to know that you are the one that will make them feel this way, and your copy and content needs to reflect that. Don't just talk 4 C's. Give them a mental image of how they will look and feel when wearing the custom piece you made for them, right? Not just nuts and bolts. Don't just talk about you. Talk about how people will turn their heads when you walk by and stare at the pair of earrings that Milwaukee Mike's made for them, and you're the only person on this planet that possesses those earrings. Regale them with visions of dinners or vacations in which they can dress up or down. You can go to a formal dinner and a black tie thing, or you can go to the Mexican restaurant down the street in jeans and a t-shirt and still look amazing wearing the matching necklace and ring that you created from their vision of a custom piece. It's not that if you don't do this, you're not going to sell, because you have the jewelry laid out in categories and you talk nuts and bolts about the various pieces in terms of the stones, the metal, the setting. But if you talk to them about how they will look and feel while wearing the pieces from your private collection or what you've designed for them, they are just much more likely to buy from you. Because make no mistake, if they searched for a type of piece in your location, they have intent to buy. Someone that searches for custom engagement ring in Naperville is looking to buy a custom engagement ring in Naperville. You just need to convince them that you're the one in Naperville that they need to be buying from. And that's what your copy is for, right? Copy is the words on your web page. Right? There's a little bit of a difference between copy and content. Content is the things that you put out, like blog posts or guides or whatever. Copy is what's on your website, your ads, your emails. They call that copy. Speaking of blogs, this is a great way to get traffic, but you have to create content that guides the visitor to take the next step. It's a little bit more passive, right? Because you're trying to educate and sometimes entertain at the same time, but there's still a path they need to take. And maybe that step is to read your custom design process page afterwards. Maybe it's a blog post about custom design, or even just not custom, but Art Deco engagement rings. But guide them to, maybe the next step is to read your custom design process page. Or maybe it's to click through to another post about the difference between VS1 and VS2 diamonds. Just like Alec Baldwin and Glenn Ross says to the sales team when he's tearing them a new one, always be closing. Your content should be closing the visitor to take another step. This is your call to action. This includes putting text calls to action in the middle of the blog content and not just having a calendar at the bottom or a button at the bottom that says book an appointment. But let's go back to VS1 and VS2 diamonds for a second. Halfway down the post, have a section that says getting an engagement ring and not sure what type of diamond is best for you. Talk to our chat assistant off to the right. Book a no strings in-store appointment and we'll guide you through the entire process. We'll show you, we'll educate you, provide them value. And then you can go on with the rest of the stuff about the VS1, VS2 diamonds. Have a booking calendar at the bottom of your posts. So when someone understands, you know your stuff, pique their interest, don't make them look at all for how to meet with you. Put it right in their face. Always be closing. Always have something somewhere which will take them to the next step. And your revenue will increase as a result. Coming up, watch Josh break down actual retail jewelry websites in real time.